Okay, you guys ready to play trailer?
Yay!
Alright, so we did our gooseneck. We're going to talk about our bumper pole. So obviously this is a bumper pole. So bumper pole trailers in the US, we typically still use trucks to pull them. If you go to Europe, you'll see a lot of other vehicles actually pulling bumper pole trailers because they don't have very many trucks, so they do tons and tons of those. So big reminder, when you're backing trailers up is always to make sure that the hitch is up high enough before you back the vehicle up. Okay, so a simple little thing. We had to do that today, so the trailer that I hooked up to on the gooseneck, I pulled it with a much bigger truck, so we had to crank it way up. And if you're not thinking about that and you back your truck up, then you smash your truck, and then you're sad. Okay, so super, super important that we do that. We're going to play with those today too. Okay? All right, so we're going to actually play a little bit. We're going to do a lot of hands-on stuff today. So with trailers that are bumper poles and with your goosenecks, the size of the ball is extremely important to know. Okay? Because if you do not have the correct one and you drive with it, what is going to happen? It'll loosen up. What else could it do? Fall off. Okay? So it could come off.
And smash your truck.
Yes, it could smash. It could do all kinds of crazy things. So we're going to go here in just a second, and we're going to actually look at the size of balls that we have and see if they match with our vehicle. The other super, super important thing that we need to do is make sure the chains are hooked up. Okay? Why do we have these chains, these silly little chains on there?
In case the ball breaks and then we won't lose our trailer.
Yeah, so we want it to still be at least a little bit attached. Right? So these are essentially emergency chains. You're not going to pull them with chains, but it's going to keep your trailer from careening down the highway by itself with your horse leaving. Okay? So that can be a real thing, guys. So if anything goes wrong, you want those safety chains in place. And then before you ever haul away, you always need to make sure that the lights are plugged in correctly and the lights of the trailer work. Okay? So what kind of lights need to work on a trailer? Oh, good answer.
The lights that flash and the lights that show where, that way they know there's a trailer there so they don't crash in.
Okay, so lights that know there's a trailer there, so we call those running lights. Brake lights, why do we care about brake lights?
Because they stop people.
Yeah, if you're braking and those lights don't come on, what is the person behind you going to do?
Crash.
Run into you. Do you want them to run into you?
No.
No, that's really important. So brake lights, super important. What other lights? Turn signals, why are those important? Yeah, so those are about your safety with other vehicles around you. So if you're driving on the highway, not that you guys are driving on the highway yet, but someday it's going to happen. You want to make sure that the other traffic knows if you're changing lanes or changing directions. Okay, so it's super, super important when you've got really important horses in the back that you do that. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to start with doing some hands-on. We're going to do lots of fun hands-on stuff today. Let's go take a look at our trailers. So our bumper pole. have big horses? Okay, a couple of you have big horses? If you have big horses, you need a bigger trailer. Okay? So generally we worry about how tall a horse is. So some of our really big breeds of horses need a much, much bigger trailer than a smaller breed of horse. So anybody have ponies? Yeah, some ponies? So how big of a trailer do you need for a pony?
Just a normal size. No, one of those big
So people that actually have mini horses sometimes they'll use sheep trailers because like the mini horse fits in it, right? So you can still take a mini horse with a big horse. The biggest thing if we had a mini horse and a trailer with a big horse, do we want the mini horse free in there with the big horse?
No.
Probably not, okay? Because we don't want him to end up underneath the big horse. So we'd want to make sure that he's secured in his own spot or at least tied in there, okay?
Or there's like a little wall.
Yeah, a little wall, okay? So if he had his own designated trailer space, he'd be fine. But we don't want to load him in. If this didn't have a divider, we wouldn't just throw him in there to be underneath the big horse, right? So we want to make sure that there's plenty of space for that little guy. Okay? So the other thing that we're going to talk about too with safety a little bit is talking about how do horses balance in a trailer when you're turning. Is it easy?
No.
It is not. It's actually a lot of work for a horse to ride in a trailer. Does anybody know which direction horses like to face in a trailer?
Sideways.
It's actually backwards. Yeah. So, yes, horses actually balance better backwards. And so horses that, if you see horses in stock trailers that are loose or you give them the ability, they'll ride backwards. Okay? Do they like to ride in a straight line or at an angle? At an angle, because it's easier for them to balance. So we do a lot of slant load trailers for horses because we do the diagonal. We don't do a lot of backwards because that's just hard to do, right? Because we have to lead them in and put them in the trailer, so sometimes it's just not practical. So let me ask you guys your thoughts between, do you think horses like this kind of trailer better or that kind of trailer better?
That would.
Yeah, horses actually like stock trailers better. So sometimes if we have horses that are hard to load, the hardest thing to get a horse in is a straight load trailer with solid sides, okay? So if you do have a horse that's struggling a little bit, that's the hardest one for them to get in. Why is that?
Because they're so small.
Yeah, well, it's so small, and you're asking them to go into a little narrow space that there's no way out. And so a lot of times, they can't turn, right? So if you gave a horse a choice between turning around or backing out of a trailer, what do they like the best? They like to turn around, okay? So sometimes, and we'll look at these trailers in here just a little bit, sometimes horses can get stuck in a trailer if they don't know how to back out. Does anybody experience that? Yeah, it's super fun when a horse is now stuck in the trailer and won't get out because they're afraid to back out. And so that's a real thing. So if you don't know your horse backs out of a trailer, do not put them in last. Huge mistake, okay? So put them in the front where you at least have the ability to turn them around if you need to, or you need to make sure your trailer doesn't have a solid rear tack room that leaves only a little space. That's why they can't turn around, okay? That can be really embarrassing if you hauled your friend's horses to a horse show and the horse doesn't want to get out, and then everybody's like, well, here we are. That horse won't get out. So what I want to do next, before we get into doing a lot of the maintenance stuff, is we're going to go look at these trailers and talk about what is good or bad about these trailers. This one has lots of safety features, right? So it has extra locking, so it is not going to non-load. That's a good thing. Yes, this one has been used for horses. Okay, so it's not a very good trailer. So, what do we think what's good about this trailer for horses? It's big and roomy. Big and roomy, okay?
Sure, there's air in it. 'Cause what good is a flat spare tire?
No good.
No good at all.
You have to call a tow truck.
Yeah, you would. You'd have to go with one tire, which is a really bad idea on a tandem trailer.
When you have a horse inside.
Yeah. So, what are we going to do if we get a flat?
Change tire.
Right. So how are we going to get that tire?
So maybe before we, just to make sure we get everything we think about, you got a flat tire, where should you change it?
On the side of the road. On the side of the road.
Honestly, if you had a choice between going to a gas station or... Yeah, so is it better to change on the side of the road or a big safe place?
Safe place.
Big safe place. If you have to change it on the side of the road, what side of the road?
The right side of the light. On the other side of the road.
Far right side. Okay, straight line or curve?
Straight line.
Why?
Think I should get hit by a car?
Yeah, so they can't see you. So don't, if you just had a curve, don't pull over right there, right? You can go a little farther. Okay, so it's better to go farther and be safe. Okay, so not after a curve. Before you change the tire, do we get the horses out?
Yes.
Why not?
They'll start going crazy.
I would not let them out. Why do we not let them out?
Because they can go crazy.
They can, yeah, so where are you going to tie them? And what if they get loose? And there's another hazard for you to think about. So will your jacks and everything hold a horse and a trailer up? Yes. Leave them in. Good. All right, I just wanted to make sure we got that before we continue on our tire change. All right, back to Joe.
Are we going to do this?
So we're going to talk about a couple other things first. So, before you change a tire, what are these?
Things to stop the trailer.
Right, where do they go?
Under the tires.
Yeah, so they go on both sides. And what does that? That makes sure that it doesn't roll away. Right, when you jack it up? Yes, you can. Sandberg. No, I would put it on the other side. Other side, back tire.
You want to put on the other side.
Other side, back tire. Same as you did right there. There you go. I want to ask the trailer guy a question. You okay with me jacking up the axle on this trailer? That was the only place I could find it.
That's where you should.
Okay.
So that's going to get it off the ground the quickest. So if you put it underneath the frame of the trailer, you're going to lift it up until that suspension drops. Then the tire will come up. If you lift underneath the axle, you don't have to jack it.
Well, so there's a couple of ways that we could do this, but on this one, we're going to do it with the jack. But what do you think we do with that? Put it under a tire and drive on it so that it's under the other tire. Get the tire off underneath it. Right?
We'll do that.
But on this one, we're going to jack it up.
Because this one's small.
You heard what he said, and what I guessed was it's going to go under the axle. So take a look at what's under here.
Where is the axle?
Right here.
The axle? That's the jack. What's the axle?
Axle is right up here.
Correct. So it's going to be this kind of steel bar that goes all the way across and holds the wheel.
And this part's going to go into this.
Right. So we're going to put this jack under the axle, and we're going to make sure it's nice and tight before we start doing the jack. Okay, hang on. Not yet, not yet. So, one of the things you might want to do before you start jacking it up is loosen the bolts, right?
If you lift up the trailer and then loosen the bolts, all you're going to do is just turn the tire.
Right, so what do you need to loosen the bolts? Who wants to loosen a bolt? You want to loosen a bolt?
Yeah.
He hasn't loosened the bolt. We'll let you jack it up, okay?
I'm keeping this. You get that.
I get to do the hard part.
Now, which way do you turn them when you're loosening?
Lefty, loosey, right?
Lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. Good job.
Cranking.
That may not be the right side. Just try
What
it.
about
Try
this
that.
one?
Check this one out.
So one of the things we're finding out here is everybody loves fancy aluminum.
What about this one right here? Can you try this one?
With chrome lug nuts and that, what we've been telling people
you
is
try a
to get a
different one?
socket so the wall on these T-handles is thicker.
Here,
So if
try
you look
this.
how thick these are, they don't fit in between where that fancy aluminum wheel and that fancy lug nut is.
So I brought something else, which is along the lines of what he's saying. When you try to take a lug nut off, what we wanted to show you is it's really hard with a lug wrench.
Yeah.
It's really easy with this.
That's true.
So this is an impact hammer, and I've already made sure that that socket fits.
Yeah.
So lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. Or an impact wrench, I'm sorry. Hammer. So that's really tight. Have you had to try and do that by hand?
Oh, yeah.
But it's loose now.
It's probably like good as egg.
So that's how you get the lug. Do we want to take this whole tire off or just, I mean, it's okay with me if you got time. All right, so loosen all the lugs, but don't take them off yet.
Oh, what's that?
Sometimes that happens. Take the whole wall off.
Pop that on the ground until it comes out. All right, is everything loose?
I think we just need one.
So the tires are on there.
All right, so the jack's tight. Now, hang on. What's one thing you absolutely do not want to do when you got a trailer up on a jack or any kind of vehicle up on a jack?
Don't get under me.
Don't get under it. Correct.
So that's why you have this.
So you're gonna put this in there. Once you get it in there, you're gonna get out here to crank it up. Okay,
You got it done?
it's there. You ready to go?
Wait, is that the easy?
This one. You should see that tire start to come off the ground.
So guys, one thing I would add is have all your stuff prepared, and when you get it up, you've got live cargo in this thing. So be safe when you're doing it, but get the job done quickly, because you want to get this tire off there, get the spare on, and get it back down to the ground. Your horses are antsy on a parking lot, and there's noises and vehicles around, and the trailer's moving, and they don't know what's going on. So get it up, get the tire changed, get it back down to the ground, so they'll settle down.
All right, so now you're gonna take Okay, so now take the lug nuts off. They're all loose, right?
So you discussed leaving the cargo in. Do you leave the trailer hooked to your vehicle or unhook the trailer?
Leave it hooked to the vehicle.
Leave your trailer hooked to the vehicle.
Hello, is there a question?
Am I going to
They need to set them out so that they go back in the same hole they came out of.
They don't have to go back in the same hole they came out of. They go back on in a pattern, though.
Which way did they go?
Righty-tighty,
Righty, tighty,
lefty-loosey.
lefty, loosey. Does this hook pop off of it pretty easy?
Yeah, so when it's stuck on there behind the wheel. So when you pull the wheel off, it'll be behind it. I'll show you a way to cheat. Watch this. Put that on there. See how much easier that is? See that?
All right, you finish it up. You haven't got them all off yet. Now look at the bottom.
I've done that a bunch of times. Unfortunately.
All right.
So let's look at a couple of other things on this tire. How do you know if you've got a worn out tire? Right, but there's also an indicator on a tire that tells you when you need to change it. What would that be? You see these little bars right here?
Yeah.
Those are wear indicators. When your tire tread gets down to that point to where it's flush with that means it's time for a new tire. And so you'll see those in various locations on the tire.
And now this little piece comes out.
It does come out. You figured it out.
No,
It comes out backwards.
What if it's wet out?
If it's wet out,
Yeah. Well, where do you put the jack on? So instead of picking the trailer up,
if you're down in the mud, I'd put take your block that you jack your trailer up with and stick it under there. Put the jack on that. All right, so when we put a tire back on,
We have to lift this up.
lift it up and get it back on there. And we're gonna do this a certain way.
Okay, ladies, you need to get in there and tighten some lug nuts.
Yeah, we're gonna have to switch out our crew.
We are all independent women.
Grab all the lug nuts. We're just gonna put them on there loosely for now. Okay, so when you put lug nuts back on, you're gonna skip every other one as you go around. That makes sure that everything's straight and lined up. So you kind of do a cross pattern.
So like this one and then skip one and
Yep. You go back around and you get the ones that you missed. And then what I do is I go back around on all of them and I make sure they're good and tight.
okay.
okay, my question was there a specific way you were trying to get that tire back on?
Just making sure all the lugs are lined up and go in the holes.
Okay.
All right, so let's change out our crew. Somebody's gonna put these lugs back on.
Need some girls.
Come on, girls. You're going to impact wrenches. We got a volunteer right there.
Is it going the right way?
Let's go on the right one.
Sorry.
Start with one. Not all the way. Just kind of, as soon as it gives resistance. Skip one.
Yeah.
Skip to the next one. And now pick up the ones that you didn't get. And now go back around one more time and give them just one good little. striper on it? Okay. All right, then we lower it. You're up.
I go this way.
The opposite way of the. That's right. That's jacking it up.
Needs more air? All right. Yeah, this truck for Victoria's.
That cold
Check
weather.
it, make it up.
Unexpected.
I don't drive the truck.
So do you check them again once you got the tire down?
Do you guys feel like you're prepared now in a tire emergency?
All the way down. Jack's loose.
But I'm
Not comfortable with this one yet.
And then grab the wheel chocks. Put on the back of the tank. Grab those.
I'll grab from the right.
There's one on the other side. You got that one, okay? And we are ready to go.
Okay, so I wanted, since we've got a trailer expert here, Anthony from Sit Around Trailers is here, and again, thank you so much for letting us use your trailer. Fantastic. Another important one that you guys should at least think about, especially since we have all the parents here, is what kind of vehicle matches with the trailer. So he's going to go over making sure that those match, and how do you know?
So, thank you guys for allowing us to help you out and educate you. It's very important to educate people on how to use this so it's safe. We want the people towing to be safe. We want your animals to be safe. And you guys are the future of this sport. So if we don't have young people doing this, this thing goes away. So it's very important. So we want you guys to enjoy what you're doing, and part of that is being safe, right? So every vehicle has a rating capacity of what the manufacturer of that vehicle says it can pull. So you need to consider that on what type of trailer you're pulling. So we've all seen and think it's cool, those rodeo cowboys pulling this monster trailer with the big hay pod and 5 horse, and it's really cool, pulling with a 1-ton dually. That is not safe. It looks cool, but cool ain't safe, right? So when you look at what those trailers weigh when they're loaded, some of those big trailers loaded, 4 horses, hay, water tanks full of water, all the clothes, food that they're going to have for a month in there, those trailers can weigh 26,000 to 28,000 pounds. That's a lot, okay? So match what this trailer weighs, okay? So this trailer probably has a gross vehicle weight rating of 7,000 pounds. Is that what the GVWR says?
Okay, you guys look, the young eyes.
Do you see something that says GVWR?
I see something that has pounds but after it. Oh yeah. CGAWR.
So that's a gross axle weight rating, but is there another one that says gross vehicle weight rating? Go up, higher, right there. What's that say?
7,000 pounds.
It's a good thing I work at Cimarron and know this stuff. So, yeah. So what that means is gross vehicle weight rating. That means what does everybody know what gross means? Gross means all of it, right? So the weight rating for that whole thing cannot exceed 7,000 pounds. That's the weight of the trailer. That's the weight of everything you put in it. So whether it's a little POA or it's a big monster hunt seater, you need to know what your horses weigh. And contrary to popular belief, not all horses are 16.5 and weigh 1,500 pounds. We hear that a lot. So make sure you know what your horses weigh. All your tack, your feed, all that stuff. That cannot exceed on that trailer 7,000 pounds. We're not even close. That trailer weighs 2,600 pounds empty. Okay? You can't put that much weight in there. Okay? It's one thing we do as a trailer manufacturer. We're always going to put enough axle and tire on it so you're safe. Okay? We're not going to under axle and tire. Next thing is, what are you pulling it with?
The truck.
You're not gonna hook, that's good, truck. So this, you could actually pull behind SUVs. Some of the newer SUVs, the big ones, Suburbans, Tahoes, Expeditions, have a gross rating that can handle 7,000 pounds. So again, you see all these F-150s or half-ton Chevys going down the road with these big campers behind them. It's too much, okay? So they're doing it. So match what it says. This truck that's sitting in front of this, my guess has a trailer towing capacity of probably somewhere around 15 to 16,000 pounds. That truck is not gonna know that trailer's back there, okay? Very safe setup, okay?
In fact, this truck rides smoother when there is a trailer.
Yes. So this trailer is something that any half-ton truck that's built in the last 12 to 15 years can safely pull. Tahoe, Expedition, large SUV, okay? Don't put this behind a Ford Ranger. Don't put it behind a little Toyota Tacoma
Or a 4Runner.
or a 4Runner.
Ford Raptor.
A Ford Raptor, you absolutely could. Yes. So this one probably not. This one's got, this one can, so if you think about this trailer, this is a stock trailer. So if a cowboy has this stock trailer, he's gonna load this so full that you won't be able to put a piece of paper in here. They're gonna cram as much as they can in there, so it's gonna be real heavy.
What if you're just using your Ford Raptor to take this?
You could. Good questions. This kid's thinking, man. So, one of the things she's talking about is safety. Is make sure if you're in the market for a new trailer, or you have a trailer, or you're trading vehicles, make sure they're matched. And if you have questions, the the truck manufacturer or the vehicle manufacturer can help you with that rating. You can get on the internet, and I have, say, I've got a 2019 whatever. You can get on the internet and see what its trailer carrying capacity is. Okay, then think about that when you're shopping for trailers or an existing trailer you have. Just make sure you're safe. Too many people out there are pulling too big of trailers with too small vehicles just because they can do it. Well, Anthony, what's the big deal with that? So it can pull it. It's got a lot of power. Can't stop it. Okay? All these vehicles are really fast and have a lot of power. My truck's sitting right out here. I could pull this trailer with my truck. I've got a half-ton Dodge Ram. Could pull it down the highway at 80 miles an hour. But if I'm loaded with 5 head of quarter horses in here that weigh 1,000 pounds apiece, and I got 4 roping saddles in here, and hay, and you pull out in front of me in your Ford Raptor, I can't stop it, okay? The brakes, the transmission on my truck is not set up to handle that. That truck can stop it. See the difference? Okay? Be safe. It's all about safety. So these guys that are running up and down the road for a living as rodeo people, they're doing it because that Ford F-350 is a lot cheaper than a 450 or a singled out Freightliner, okay? So they can afford to do that. But if they're coming down the mountains out of Utah from the summer run and a deer comes out in front of them, they're not stopping, okay? Or if a car pulls out in front of them, they can put
Kind of like a runaway train.
It is. They can put both feet on that brake pedal and push as hard as they can, and nothing's gonna happen, okay? Somebody's gonna get hurt. So match these up properly, okay? If you need a 4-horse trailer, then you need the proper tow vehicle to pull a 4-horse trailer. If you're pulling a living quarters with a slide out, you're not gonna pull it with this truck, okay? You need a dually that can handle the weight.
This one?
Yeah. So this truck here can handle way more weight than that one. 4 tires on the ground, 6 tires on the ground, okay? The brakes on this truck are a little bit heavy duty than that one, okay? This transmission is set up to handle a little more abuse than this one is, okay? That's why they do it. Any questions? Ask away.
Yeah, and I
Does
know
that answer what?
Yeah,
is that
that's
kind of-
perfect. And we want to be respectful of you guys' time too. So I always plan for more than we can do. So if there's questions that you guys have about trailers, anything, types of trailers, safety with trailers, now is the time to ask. So if there's something that parents, kids, whatever, you've got a trailer manufacturer expert. I do a lot on the behavior side, so fire away on questions you guys have.
The trick to getting up on them is have a spotter here, okay? So if somebody's gonna be in that truck, nobody else needs to be around but the person in that and the spotter that's standing right here that can see in the mirror, okay? Everybody thinks when they're, come on back, they can't see me. So they don't know what you call or do all you want. So always make sure that spotter's here and you're gonna direct it back, or in this case, if we're pulling it forward, so this tire's flat, right? Okay? So right now, we're gonna look at this and say this tire's flat, okay? We wanna change it, we don't wanna jack it up, okay? We're gonna put this right in front, just like it is, and you're gonna pull forward with that truck. This tire is gonna go up on this ramp. When that does, it's gonna lift this one off the ground. So we don't have to put the jack underneath it, okay? That jack's not gonna lift this trailer with horses in it, or cattle, okay? This doesn't do any damage to your axles or tires, okay? It's the safe way to do it. There's no jack that can fall over, there's no jack that can push into the ground in the mud or anything. And when it gets right here, see that little divot? That little kind of bump right there? That's where you want this tire. So when it gets up to that point, stop, you're gonna tell them to stop. They're gonna turn the truck off, put it in park, turn the truck off, and get out. You can come back here and change the tire. When you're done, put the truck in reverse, back up, so it's just like this. You take it out, you're done. Does that help?
So if you're gonna do that, is this go behind that one? Or?
Yep, so let's say this tire's flat, okay? You're gonna put that ramp back here, back the trailer up, that'll lift this tire off the ground.
So we just gonna do that tire?
I don't think we've got time to actually change the tire on this, but,
If
so
you
use
come
your
to Stillwater,
imagination.
we can change more tires.
Yep. Does that answer your question?
You come to Stillwater, we'll jack the whole truck up. All 10 tires off.
I think he'll take you up on that offer.
I think you would.
Where do you get them at?
Amazon.
Tractor Supply, Atwoods, they all have those. Any type of farm
What
supply
do they
place.
call them?
Yeah. So
Jiffy Jack, Trailer Aid. all kinds of-
I did order this online because I did check with all of my local Tractor Supplies
Okay,
farm
they
dealers.
didn't
They
have
were
them.
all
Yep.
out. You had to only order it online.
Supply chain, right? It's a mess right
Yep.
now.
So, but this is the super easy way to do this, and just keep it in your trailer. So for
If you can't find one and you're crafty and you
You
like
can use a
woodwork
piece
with
of
wood,
wood.
get a piece of 6x6 block and make one. Okay?
So the
Either
first-
way, if you can't find one. So if you're handy with wood and you have the tools to do that, you can make one.
First time I changed the tires on our horse trailer, I used a piece of wood because I didn't have anything
That's
else
right.
that worked.
You do, yeah.
I didn't know those existed. Now I do.
Yeah, I mean, you use a piece of wood, a small animal, a kid, I mean, what do you get? Anything. But, and you may have covered it, but one of the most, listen guys, none of these tires fail on a bright sunny day at 3:30 in the afternoon with music playing, okay? It's all at 2 in the morning, it's cold or raining. They may have already covered this. Have the right tools. Think about what you're doing. Have the right tools with you. This can be a miserable experience if you don't have the right equipment. Have the right tools. Have a really good light. Make sure you get it. And it's not fun. So get out there and get the job done. Get back on the road so your animals are safe.
The other thing that you might want to consider having in your kit, so I would recommend that you guys have these tools, these trailer or the wheel blocks, the little safety cones. So if your trailer, you have to do it at night, put those around your trailer so that drivers can see you. So just those little flexible, reflective cones, hugely important because you don't want somebody running up on you at night. That's super dangerous.